Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the City Council. It is Tuesday evening, May 9th, and we are up here at the City Center in Olivet. And it is it's not 7 p.m. anymore. It's 7:06 and at 1140 Dealman Road in Olivet, Missouri, 63132. Could you take roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Carl,
Here.
Councilmember Knox,
Here.
Chairman Pro Tem Waldman,
Here.
Mayor.
Here. Next item.
Next item, Mayor, is communications, and we have no written communications. However, we do have a recognition tonight of Lieutenant Kevin Lemmy.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Oh,
I'm not on. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Yes, I don't have any requests of you tonight, but would just like to take a couple minutes to recognize one of our lieutenants who has officially 12 hours of work left with the city of Olivet. So again, I'd just like to take a couple minutes to just share his bio with you and present him with a retirement badge from the city. Lieutenant Kevin Lemmy started with the city of Olivet in May of 1991 as the rabies control officer. I think it was actually back then more just called the dog catcher rather than rabies control. So at that time, he worked closely with the police department, which of course piqued his interest in becoming a police officer. And he eventually made that interest known to Chief Cole. Approximately 1 year later, Chief Cole gave Lieutenant Lemmy the opportunity to attend the St. Louis County and Municipal Police Academy, where he graduated in December of 1992. During his time as a patrol officer with the department, he developed the bike patrol program, the field training program, and was detached to the St. Louis Metropolitan Fugitive and Violent Crime Task Force. In September of 2003, Lieutenant Lemmy was promoted to the rank of sergeant. As a sergeant, he was appointed as the field training supervisor and was placed in charge of recruiting and hiring. In January of 2008, Lieutenant Lemmy was promoted to the rank of lieutenant and was accepted to the FBI National Academy. He graduated from the FBI National Academy in September of 2009. Upon returning to the police department, he completed a Bachelor of Arts degree in Criminal Justice Administration from Columbia College. After 32 years of a fulfilling career, he will retire from the Olivet Police Department on May 12th, 2023. And Lieutenant Lemmy would just like to thank the city of Olivet for providing him with those opportunities and the citizens of Olivet who he has become very fond of and has developed many friendships with over his career. And I would like to invite him up if he would like to say a couple words, and also would like to present him with his personalized retirement badge that he can carry around proudly.
Yes, I just, well, good evening, first of all. And it's been a very gratifying career. It's been one heck of a journey. Just like life has its ups and downs, and fortunately it was more ups than downs. And I got the opportunity to do this, and I didn't hesitate. And I am so glad that I took the opportunity to become a police officer because, like I said, it was a very gratifying career. And I'd just like to thank everybody and wish you the best. God bless. Thank you.
So I would like Lieutenant Lemmy, I know that our council members have worked closely with you over the years, and I'd like to give people an opportunity to give you their appreciation or a few comments. I'll begin with Missy, who has probably known you the longest, or would that be Rick? That'd be Rick.
Yeah. These old eyes, I'm going to get a little personal with you. Before you go, please give my love to Darren, his wife, and the kids. Okay, you've represented all that very well. There was a little bit more of a personal connection of me and you and that family. So Godspeed, all the best to you in whatever you're going to do. You've done well. You've been a great, employee. You're gonna be missed. You got the goatee like my dad. You're making me think of my dad. And I just really want to say, I appreciate you and I want you to say hello to the family for me. All right.
Kevin, we spoke outside. I've known you since the day you walked in to the city of Olivet and was thrilled when you decided to become a police officer. I was honored to work with you. I was honored to promote you to lieutenant and honored to recommend you to the FBI National Academy. Now I'm honored for you to join the ranks of retired police officer. There's nothing better. I mean, you probably have a little stress left right now. Next week at this time, that'll all be gone. So I wish you well. And I hope to see you during the holiday parties and around town, but this is a well-deserved retirement, and I wish you well.
Councilmember Clark.
I had a chance to meet you well before I was on this council. You came to my mom and dad's house. I can't remember if it was my mother or my dad who had gotten sick. It was my dad. And I remember the comfort that you gave me and my family during that time of trauma. It was very kind. I remember we spoke about golf and a chance to get together and maybe hit some balls along the golf course. And now you're my Facebook friend. And, when I'm in the car and I see you and I'll toot my horn and wave to you, I was with one of my best friends and he said, "You know that cop?" I said, "Yeah, that's my friend." It's honorable to see a police officer, a man who was a soldier for our citizens here, and say, "That's my friend." Thank you very much for your service, all of you. Thank you for your service that you give to this community, because again, you are the soldiers for the city. I wish you nothing but the best. And I think that going forward, it's only going to get great from here. So don't forget about it, because we won't forget you.
I don't believe I've ever had to work with you professionally. I mean, maybe in the early days, I was here in a few parties, but beyond that, it's been a while. But I am aware that you've been one of our longest serving officers, and I do appreciate your service to the city. It is a very honorable profession, and I'm quite happy that you had a fulfilling career here. That is good to know that people can have a fulfilling career here. I just wish you the best in whatever it is you decide to do next, whether that's just take it easy or you want to embark on a whole new adventure of some kind. But I do wish you the best and thank you for your service.
I like calling you Lemmy because I think that's like how people really know you and love you. And it's been such an honor to know you and to work with you. And similar to Sydney, my parents, you looked out for my dad when he had his ups and downs health-wise, and you've always been a part of the community as far back as I can remember. But when we built this building, I remember, we were pounding the pavements on the weekends, and the officers would dress down so that they could just go and help promote this. And you worked hand in hand with my daughter and with myself, and I'll always cherish those memories. So I just want to thank you also on behalf of the city, and don't be a stranger, like Rick said, come back and visit, show up for the holiday parties, and enjoy this next chapter. You deserved it. Are there any other comments from anyone in the room that would like to speak? Okay, well, congratulations. And like we said, don't be a stranger. Next item, please.
Next item is city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I I was reminded that I failed to introduce myself last time, so I'm sorry. My name is Darren Mann. I'm the finance director. Just a couple months ago, but I was asked and approved to be the interim city manager. So you have me until a new one comes or the council decides they'd rather not. And so with that, I do have a small report here. We have our dashboard for our new community center. And I was also told that I was hard to hear. So if that happens again, you please let me know. So with our community center, we have our dashboard here. Work to date, looking in the, let's see. I just had it. Overall, let's talk about more, I guess, where we're at in the project. We're nearing completion. We're in the 70-80% done as far as billing is concerned. You can see there in the very upper left, the schedule modification has currently projected as of June 30, 2023 for substantial completion. We're getting some word that we can start moving stuff in maybe July into August. So that's the latest schedule we have says this. The contractors held to that date verbally, but it's looking there towards, so we'll say late summer. The interior is coming along really nice. We'll see some pictures here in a second. We do have in that lower left tag there, or sorry, the panel there. You can see the total contract value started at 10.5, $541,000 in change orders to date, with a big old list of PCOs, which are potential change orders there in the lower left. We're talking about a number of those in 2 weeks. It's taking longer than we thought, and it's a difficult project. We are committed, though, to getting it. The contractor, the architect, and the city is committed to getting this done and safe, a safe and nice looking building. And so to do that, this is the time that it takes, unfortunately. Again, we'll talk about this in a couple of weeks. Please let me know if you want to see any details of that before or after. We'll talk about it a little bit with our budget, where we stand. Our contingency log right there, you can see in the second from the left, is at $196,000 contingency, so none left. Part of the budget discussion there is there are some extra kind of funding sources outside of the Prop C or Prop P. Prop C. Sorry, Prop P was the police department. Well, it's Prop C for creating parks. Pay applications were at number 18, coming around now. You can see a retainage there at $446,000. That lower to the right. Overall risks. We have only verbal communication that will, it says there, verbal communication that we can move in, be ready to move in July. That puts us at about a 90-day window that starts in the next week or so. So that's a real launching point for the Parks and Rec Department for the city itself. A couple pictures. Here's our restroom, obviously unfinished except for some flooring, which is it's good to see flooring going in, some final finishes maybe going in. And then here's the corridor. The front doors to our left. We'd be turning around to the left, and then to the right of this this view is the multipurpose room. It's a nice looking corridor there with big windows. And this is an interesting bird's eye view of the indoor playground. So the front door is right below us. Right here, the vestibule is here, right here. But you can see the look of the stone, and then the cantilevered roof there with the windows. Very nice looking. Here's a dirty view of the section of the Centennial Trail. This was taken because this needs to be cleaned off. But you can see how nice and wide this trail is. The community center itself is to the left of us down a hill. So new retaining wall. The old trees are still up there too. Any questions there, or do we want to all move on to where the gateway, the Olive Crossing dashboard that we look at the first meeting of the month? No. Okay. So not much changed since we talked a month ago as far as schedule goes here. I'll go over this pretty quickly. Anything in green like this down here at the bottom is an update from the last time we talked a month ago. So the rest of the stuff was all the same. I did add for reference some of the where the lots actually sit inside. So 170 is here, and then here's all of this one's in the corner. This is lot 3, multi-tenant retail commercial. So the building permit here was turned into the city. Did receive confirmation of that earlier this week. The first restaurant tenant lease is being routed for signature. That's exciting. Then we move on to lot 4, the apartment complex. Obviously, this is tours continue there. That'd be hard to miss if you drive by there. That's an easier one. But then the lot 1 and 2, which is in between Olive and where the apartments are now. We have a note there for a new item that the term sheet received from tenant for both those lots. So what does that mean for us? Progress is moving toward getting somebody that would like to build. Nothing there, still schedule delayed to secure tenants for lot 5, which is the office office building there, and then lot 6, a hotel somewhere. They said the pending timeline there is still proceeding on this schedule, which is far out at this point for the next year. Everything okay? Good. All right, anything there? We want to see more?
No, it's exciting to see some movement.
Yes. Upcoming events, on Friday this week, the Olivet firefighters community outreach is having a fundraiser at Olivet Lanes. I think there's still some lanes available. If you can check it, these are all links on the city website if you want to join. Go ahead and check that out. Citywide garage sale is the weekend of May 20th and 21st in a couple weeks. The Red Cross blood drive is Wednesday the 24th, and then the city offices are closed in honor of Memorial Day on Monday the 29th.
Darren, excuse me. Can you fix this slide? The firefighters community outreach fundraiser is on Friday, May 12th. not
Yeah.
May 11th.
Don't show up on
And I
Friday the
just want to
12th.
make sure when it's posted that people
Yep.
don't get confused.
Thank you very much.
That was awesome. The technology.
Oh, it worked.
Yeah.
Comprehensive plan, there's you'll see in our meetings, there's a meeting this Thursday for the advisory committee, but on May 18th is the next big community vision workshop that everyone will be able to speak their piece and say what they want. As far as ideas are, a short presentation at 9:15 and at 7:15. Doesn't say I'm here, but it is advertised as an ice cream social. So come get some ice cream and take a listen. Party in the Park on Friday was a great time, had great weather, great turnout, great music. There's a couple pictures there of things going on. Pavilion was in fine form, and Beverly and her crew did a really great job of setting everything up and then breaking everything down afterwards. And then yeah, this is oh, so you want to see some more or you have a question? Okay, good. Soccer is open. Soccer signups are open. This is we're doing a trial run for the partnership with the Ladue School District and having their kind of a youth program inside of the Olivet program, kind of not a merge at all, but a partnership. And part of that partnership is we have been given access to the 5th grade center's artificial turf fields, which is a big hit. So go ahead and sign up. It's still open to everyone, but the schools will sign up as their teams. The comprehensive plan upcoming meetings, like I said, Thursday we have a comprehensive plan update. The Parks and Rec Commission has been canceled as of today. The Housing Authority is having a meeting on the next Tuesday, the 16th at noon. The Economic Development Commission then on the economic, that's the following Monday on the 22nd. Planning Commission on that's not May 4th, that one should be gone. There was one on May 4th, which we'll hear about in a second, I bet. The City Council regular meetings on May 23rd, then the Planning and Community Design Commission on June 1st, followed by the work session on June 6th. So that puts us out a month. Take him off. Good. That's concludes my report here.
Are there any questions to my left? Are there any questions to my right? Okay, well, thank you very much. That was great. I do have one brief question. You talked about the sports, but do you know how Camp O is coming? Are they filled or?
I don't have a report on that,
Okay,
but I can, well, hopefully we'll see in our staff report in the next meeting, we'll have that.
great.
On
Thank
the
you.
citywide garage sale, do you need to sign up for that online? How does that work?
Yep, if you go online, you'll see there's a place to sign up. And if you sign up by Friday, which is the 19th, I believe at 5 or sometime in the afternoon, you get on the map.
Okay, good.
Yep, it's olivetparksandrec.com. It's the website that's they're doing the registrations for. Yep, good question.
Next item, please.
Next item is city council reports.
Um, Councilmember Knox, do you have any meetings that you attended?
The only event that I went to was the dedication at Stacy Park on Saturday. And there were several of us who were there, so party in the park. The other thing is this morning, I was at the Police Memorial Prayer Breakfast, and I was there and the mayor was there and Councilman Carl was there. It was well attended. Joe Buck was the MC, and this year we didn't have to honor any fallen officers. There was no one fallen within the last year. That's all I have there.
Thank you. Councilmember Waldman.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Thank you all for attending the prayer breakfast. I haven't gone in a few years. I'm still a little bit skittish of large crowds, but I appreciate the representation. It is a very humbling event, and I'm grateful that you didn't have to sit there and honor a fallen comrade. I attended the Planning and Community Design Commission meeting of May 4th, and at that particular meeting, under old business, there was the discussion of the 9270 Ala Boulevard Sunrise Dispensary. A conceptual plan was approved with the understanding that the expectations and the add-ons for what they wanted with regard to the conceptual plan would be sent to Mr. Trejo. And then, you know, hopefully things will move forward for this business. They still did not present anything that was a wow factor. They were again given ideas and thoughts and processes, and I encouraged them to perhaps hire a planner because our planner is not their planner. So it's my understanding that this conceptual approval will come to the council on May 23rd. We'll have a first reading, possibly if that's the calendar where we're at. And on June 13th, we would have the public hearing and the final reading and passage for the plan and design for 9270 Olive Boulevard. Two items on the new business for 529 Long Acres and 570 Long Acres were postponed. People who live off of Dillon Road did come and express some concerns with regard to the water flow and how things were going. And so continued conversation will be had with the Freeman properties and the city and those on Dillman to work towards lessening the impact, because the homes that he's addressing are in the back, which are further away from that water retention area that was built into this subdivision. 9338 Ala Boulevard was a sign monument approval, and I think we're going to be going to a ribbon cutting ceremony on that soon with the chamber. Under other business, there was the brief informing of the body with regards to the urban agricultural modifications that will be coming to the council. He provided a brief discussion regarding rainscaping, and what will happen is that someone from Missouri Botanical Gardens will come to the Planning and Community Design Commission and present various forms and styles for the rain gardens. So that will be coming soon to the Planning and Community Design Commission. And that is all I have to report. Thank you very much.
I attended the pension board meeting last Thursday. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that the market's been down lately, so we're not as well funded as we were. Again, we are one of a better funded pension, so it's just the market fluctuation They make a consideration for rebalancing at some point as the asset values change, but basically it's just the market conditions are what's given us what we have today. So generally, the market has gone up, so we cross our fingers and hope.
Very good, thank you.
Mhm.
Councilmember Clark.
I have nothing to report at this time.
I would also like to share, I'd like to give compliments to the Parks Department as well as Parks Commission for the planning of Party in the Park, where we dedicated the mosaic bench and the pavilion, and the activities were great. The music was outstanding. And kudos to them. It was really a festive evening and we had a great turnout and the weather cooperated. We also had, since the last meeting, on April 28th, we had a PCDC joint council meeting with Shockey Consultants who are working with us on the comprehensive plan. And it was an interactive meeting and it was very well done. And I also encourage people to attend the one of the two sessions on May 18th if possible. We want people's input, so please join us for that as well. So next item, please.
Next item is hearing from citizens. You have one card there.
Mr. Bordish, if you'd like to join us at the podium. Bordish. Where did Bordish come from?
Morton Burdish, 8829 Chisholm Court. First, I'd like to thank the fire department, and the EMTs who helped my wife the other evening. Unfortunately, she broke her hip, and so they transported her to Mercy, and she's recovering well now at home. Tonight, I want to talk about, I've been donating, as everybody knows, I gave my heart and soul to the city of Olivet for over 30 years. From beginning from the working with the people in my neighborhood to revitalize our community after the Walmart fell through. I even worked with them to have this community center with free trophies for the kids after 7 years. Unfortunately, they stopped coming. I worked with some friends of mine to try and get some ordinances passed to improve the city. I've also done, I was on the community affairs committee for 20 years. I was on the parks committee for 3 years. I love parks, as everybody knows. I tried to make Olivet a better community. I did all I could, but there comes a time when it's time for me to move on a little bit. And I appreciate all the people I work with. And I'll be moving on, somebody else will have to pick up the slack, I guess. But I do want to say one thing. I was reading, there's a description on, I think it was a assistant park director or something about breaking down the barriers. I know you're going to hate to hear this, but in order to break down the barriers, it's important to have facilities for young kids, which we have a ton of kids in our neighborhood. So I'm hoping eventually that Olivet will put that small park off of Price Road there around the bike trail, which I talked to Beverly Knight about, because we really need a park. So that's the last time I'm going to complain about it. It's all up to you guys because I've pretty much done all I can do. So good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Burdish. We appreciate all that you've done.
Mr. Burdish, when you say you're moving on, what do you mean?
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Next item is surplus vehicle declaration.
Good evening, Mayor. In front of us, we have, I think it's signed by Bruce, but we can, it's pretty, a little bit of administrative things as far as getting vehicles swapped. There's a 2016 Chevy Impala that has lived its life as a police car and a patrol car, and now went to the planning department for several years. Now with 74,500 miles is asked to be declared surplus and auctioned off. You're fine.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to declare asset 01465 as surplus and to be sold off.
Second.
Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Knox,
Yes.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Waldman,
Yes,
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed.
Next item, please.
The next item is discussion of the FY 24 budget.
All right, good evening. And as promised for several meetings now, we will be talking about the Olive and North Price intersection and improvements. So Bruce McGregor has joined us today and he is the expert in this. And I'll say before we start, because I might forget it through or after, he's done a fantastic job on this. This is easy to let go because it's a lot of work. And this has been a goal for many of our staff members, many of our business owners to have this intersection improved and realigned. And we're right on the precipice here. So I'll start this. Let's see. Good. What are we discussing? There's an intersection at North Price and Olive, as this is the CVS building right here. And in 3 or 4 short years, this will be, Bruce, you come on up and explain, but for reference, the Price Crossing is right here. The new developments here, and then CVS is here. So Bruce, take her away.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good to see everybody. So I think going back to when I-170 Bridge was reconstructed back in 2007, 8, back then, it was a vision item to actually improve this intersection as well. And MoDOT sort of ran out of funding and energy to complete this part of it. They did, however, set the groundwork by placing what I hope are the signal structures in a location to facilitate this construction. So what are we doing? Number one, we're removing a legacy functionally deficient roadway hazard, which is the structure there opposite CVS, which is now the CBD store. In any design book, having a building corner, mere feet away from the edge of the roadway is just not a good design. And we've been very fortunate that to date, when somebody's speeding out of work, we haven't had a pedestrian cross out of the front entrance and get blindsided. So number one, the hashed area that is on the left side where it says total property taking, that is planned to be a right-of-way negotiation to purchase the entire property. That'll really give us the room to create a modern designed industrial type space for the types of vehicles that come in and out of North Price and Dealman Industrial Park. And when we talk about that, we look at, tractor trailer turning radiuses, whether it is the long haul tractor trailer with the camper on it or the everyday, with the big sleeper compartment in the back, or the shorter tractor trailers. We designed for the shorter ones to make the turn so that they don't have to swerve around into opposite lanes and to improve that. On the opposite side, you'll also note that there is an additional area of property taking or right of way. Probably won't need all of that space. We'll need a portion of it, which would be a right of way purchase, and then a construction easement for grading and associated finishing in there. But for the application, we identified it in its entirety for what a right of way acquisition.
Do we have to take down the work of art?
The goal is to save the CVS monument, but we'll have to change the pedestrian alignment. You can see in the dark lines there, the alignment isn't quite east-west. It's tracking a little bit south from the east side to the west side.
That was a big compromise with them to put something on the corner. So.
Oh, was it really?
Yes.
Well, yeah, they're Well, I'll hold my thoughts on CVS for another day. But it will be, of the 4 areas that we need right away, acquisition and negotiations, only one of them is locally held. Which is this property there, the CBD property. The CVS parcels held by a holding company out of Phoenix, I think. And we don't really know when we get over to Dealman Industrial who the holder is for those 2 parcels. So back to the good news. So with this, we will have a dedicated right turn only lane, a center lane, which will be straight or left turn, and a dedicated left turn lane. So it really gives everybody the alignment, needed to get the traffic moving. Since COVID, vehicular traffic's been light, but I have no doubt that we're going to start bringing more and more people back into the industrial part. It's just too attractive of a location and good spaces. And I don't know what our occupancy rate is in there for planning, but I definitely know that we can handle quite a few more businesses and employees in traffic. Does anybody have any questions about what is proposed?
I do, I want to get clarity on the lanes again. So the portion of property that we're looking to purchase, that is solely going to be what? Just a right turn lane?
Yes, that allows us to widen all of the lanes.
Okay, so that answers my question. Where are we gonna okay.
We're going to widen the lanes. If you look, it's hard to see, but the lane closest to CVS is going to go to 16 feet now. So that'll allow tractor trailers and other equipment making a right turn in more room to maneuver without going into southbound traffic. If we took about 4 feet off of the building, 5 feet, maybe we could have made it work without total acquisition, but there's just no way to complete the project safely without a total parcel taking. It's just not feasible.
No, I totally understood that. I just didn't know the level of how the lanes were going to
Yeah,
change.
it doesn't, when you look at it like
width-wise.
that, I say, oh, they look so small,
Yeah,
but there was a lot of thought in how to accommodating existing fixtures, meaning that the traffic signals and how to accommodate the bigger trucks, which, tend to impede other, east-west or westbound traffic as they turn.
Go ahead.
If I could ask a question, Mr. Martin. So Paul, if CVS doesn't answer us, which has been my understanding in the past, this is public safety. Can we not do this anyway if we don't get responses from CVS corporate?
Yes. I mean, we will have to condemn it
Mhm.
if we can't negotiate something, but yes,
Okay,
we can act regardless of whether they cooperate.
okay, thank you.
As with any negotiations, we follow the Uniform Act, which is a federal act about how agencies can acquire property and easements. And that is the end game of a non-successful negotiation that you go to court for it. So while we're here, I thought we just,
I
oh,
wanna
I'm
see if
sorry.
There's more questions
Yeah.
to,
Yeah, I do have
Councilmember
a quick
Carr.
question. What do we plan to do with the rest of the property?
Well, we don't know. The building will be raised. It'll be left vacant. It's too small for a park. And
I was thinking,
but I would love to see it be accommodated for some sort of public amenity, but
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be a vacant ground until another redevelopment might occur. But
Well, I would say the lot in and of itself couldn't do much, but I guess you
Yeah.
could sell part of it to the people
Right.
next door. So I'm gonna let yourself
yeah,
enough.
I would say
Yeah.
it would be a city asset until a time is
Okay.
something.
But you have no
happens.
specific.
Right. And also should note that with the recent judgment that we received through the courts, the original parcel for this for the CBD property was rectangular and actually extended into the roadway. The roadway existed on a number of easements to the state of Missouri, and I believe maybe one to Olivet. So the roadway was on the property with the easements right up to the edge of the building. So it's a very unique parcel historically and how the roadway existed and the whole series of easements. And I don't know what our next steps are after the judgment, whether we do a final plat and everything to sort of restate the property
The
of the
road-
roadway.
The road still lies on property that is privately owned. We just have established through the judgment that the road is a public road and it's subject to the jurisdiction of the city. We will still, when we acquire the property that has the building on it, that will extend to the property that lies underneath the road
Okay,
that is also owned by the same owner.
okay. Thank you for that clarification. So the square footage of the property acquired will actually be larger than the shaded area, which is outside of the easements for the roadway.
So, Mr. McGregor, you had mentioned, when we were talking about the width of the lanes, the 16 feet and the 14 feet and 11. How wide are they currently? Because right now we only have a in and out with.
I'd have to check for sure. I do not recall. I want to say they're on the order of 11,
Okay.
which would be about standard for there, maybe a little bit wider down closer to the roadway.
Very good. Okay, this is great news. Oh, Councilmember Knox?
Yes, Mr. McGregor, on the north end of the building, there's a driveway that comes out of CVS. There's a driveway that comes out of Hydrodynamics.
Mhm.
And I was coming out of Hydrodynamics the other day, and I almost got sideswiped because I couldn't see I was sitting there getting ready to pull out to
So
go.
there's a site distance problem,
There was-
probably because of the berm in front of the
Exactly.
building there.
But this wouldn't cover that. Is that correct?
No, we were gonna take the paving, repave the entire roadway up into about the entrance, the side entrance to CVS, just for
Okay.
continuity of all fresh pavement and to accommodate the new markings and so on.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I just would like to keep that on the
Sure.
our radar,
Mhm.
just in case there is a problem with cars pulling out. I know they don't have a lot of cars pulling out,
Mhm.
but like I said, I couldn't see anything coming.
Coming
south.
southbound.
Yeah, so. Thank you.
Just wait, there's more.
There's more.
Just west of here. This is the now the used to be Alvi, now is owned by Honeywell.
Right, right. And actually, yeah, we haven't researched who the actual owner of this parcel actually is. I assume it's the same people who own the Honeywell property. So over here, again, what we're trying to do is improve flow coming out of the industrial park. If we recall back to the days when pre-COVID, when Enterprise was at maximum capacity, people were doing all sorts of maneuvers, mainly speeding through the residential neighborhoods to get out of the industrial park quickly. The biggest hangup they had at Dealman Industrial was that with only one southbound lane approaching Olive, if somebody was making a left turn in high traffic volume times, that stopped the whole line of traffic. So what we're looking at here again is a widening of the roadway and creating a left turn and a right turn lane so that traffic can maneuver onto Olive westbound without being hindered by the left turn onto Olive. Mhm. And if you look at this as well, and this is another unique part of right away in the industrial park, we had a lot of room. So that red line right where the mouse is, that's the actual property line to Honeywell, and the roadway exists all the way over to the opposite side by the bank. So we had room to expand east within existing right of way and minimize property takings, which is why the road alignment looks a little bit offset for that right turn coming in with a sort of, as you go north, that you're going to have a little turn to meet the existing alignment. But that just facilitated an easier project without injury or without takings from property owners, now hurting a potential property.
Can you speak a little with regard to what is being marked as a proposed retaining wall?
So if right along that area, there is a significant grade drop and there's an existing retaining wall there from when the Dealman Industrial Park NID occurred. So at the time, it wasn't really any thought into the intersection here. So the retaining wall was constructed immediately, or not immediately, but mostly behind the sidewalk. Well, to accommodate the lane expansion to the east, we need to move the retaining wall in the grade so that we can push the sidewalk over and create room for the roadway.
Good. So here's where we are as far as like in the city itself. And then, why we talked a lot about a lot of the stuff, but improved turning radiuses for our industrial park users. Good improved traffic flow for the industrial park and then the upcoming Balboa development, which is who assumed the Opus properties at Irvington and Ram. Safer pedestrian walkways and then improved traffic flow through those additional lanes, and then when through in 2025, the acquisition engineering, then right of way and the project itself into 26. So that puts us 2 or 3 years out. How does this affect us today? Is how much is this going to cost? And it's a $1.7 million project. We talked a couple weeks ago that we did get a approval for $631,000 of that through a MoDOT or East West Gateway cost share. This council has allocated $860,000 in this area for the ARPA money, and then as part of the negotiations with Opus itself, the city council and Opus agreed in a redevelopment agreement to provide $170,000 in city funds for it roughly says the intersection at Olive and North Price. It doesn't have any specifics in there, but so of course this would qualify, and this would improve the access to that redevelopment. So what does that leave us? We can do all this for $39,000 out of the capital improvement fund, and that's what we see in the budgets that we'll talk about here in a second. So that's an incredible amount of, I said this is easy to leave alone. We can listen to people complain, and that's just fine. Between Bruce recognizing the extra right of way that we have already in one of the areas, with the council then kind of pushing the developers to include this with their funds as part of the offset of what the city gives up. That helps out there, and then of course recognizing through that the ARPA allocation that this was a need for the city. It's a really great story for budgeting purposes.
That's the cost and value today. Now you've given us year of 25 and 26.
Inside
So,
of those are,
yeah,
we've added, well, what I would consider quite a lot of contingency and budget forecasting. However, in today's terms, nothing surprises me. One of the items that we're hoping to accelerate is given the difficulty of negotiating with out-of-state property owners, and the large sum for the CBD property, we're going to ask the MoDOT administrator if we can accelerate and begin the right-of-way process sooner, to have this program so that we can start in previous years of going through the grants. They would say, well, you should be able to complete right-of-way in 6 months. And now they're saying you need to allocate, a year to 18 months to complete the right-of-way process. I've had a preliminary discussion with our area engineer and sort of outlined what our concerns were, and also that we didn't want to affect the business owner or the business currently leasing the property at the CBD. And if we can time this when there's already a ending of a lease, I think that's a win-win for everybody. So we're not kicking somebody out, just because. So we would really like to see this move faster for those reasons.
and again, Darren, the ARPA money is 2024. We got to say how we're going to spend it. We got to spend it by 2026, correct?
That's right. We don't have to say at all how we're going to spend it. We just have to spend it by 26. Yep. As it's obligated, the keywords that are kind of obligated. Right. We have until the end of 25 to obligate them, which would be a contract of some sort. Right.
Yep. And having those resources is very important for us, because if we do accelerate any acquisitions, we won't get reimbursed until the year it's funded in the grant. So if we had property acquisition funded for 2026 and we were able to complete it in 2025, we won't see that money till second quarter 2026, to get our reimbursement for the MoDOT portion. So having that resource available is really huge for us.
Bruce, are there any restrictions on the MoDOT cost share? Is that dedicated to acquisition or can that be for construction?
So very good. So the cost share portion includes the entirety of the right of way of the CBD property right of way acquisition and construction within the Olive Boulevard right of way. Okay, everything to the north of the right of way, any curbing, any asphalt, anything north of the MoDOT limit is in the project as a city expense. Okay, and we took that all the way, like I said, quite a bit north to the CVS entrance there for a nice paving area. So the limits of MoDOT are entirely within their.
Perfect segue.
Yeah.
So I also what's going on in this area. So this is the area right here, roughly in this big highlighted box would be I would classify as what the language inside of that redevelopment agreement says as for the area of North Price and Olive. So there's the berm we were talking about here, I suppose. That is coming around there. The road that's being created somewhat right there will be there's gonna be something there. And so that's that access that Balboa was seeking and we're doing the work for. Again, it's a really great marriage of different ideas. In addition to that, there's $80,000 that will be provided to the city by the developer for a sidewalk construction from right here at North. This is the 1200 North Price, the Public Works building. So from here to the edge of this, the property line here. And then in that agreement also is at no cost to the city, the developer will create a sidewalk from here all the way to Hilltop.
That's not the 170,000 you said there.
That's correct. There's no dollar amount given, just that they will provide it.
Okay.
So. And I wanted to bring that up as far as like what else is going on in this area, because it's easy to forget. And
I say the opportunities to double fund or triple fund a project are few and far between. And that's why we applied for the CMAQ grant as well, which we were not successful with, but that would have been a quadruple funding on a project.
Good. That's all I have for this topic. I know it was kind of we've been hinting around about it for a month or so, and here we are talking about it. So do we have any more questions, or do you want to see anything more on this as we go forward?
Could we apply for CMAQ funding next year and identify this project or no?
We did it once. I read the writing on the wall on the review.
Okay,
And I just don't think
okay,
in the
fair
grant
enough.
scope of projects,
Sure.
we'd get it.
Fair enough.
Good, thank you, Bruce. As far as other items, we have, I'm gonna go quickly through an update on our A1 sheet, which is our list of all of our funds. So what has changed since the last time we looked at this? What was it? About a month ago, I suppose, maybe a little bit more, 6 weeks. Our general fund is now in a deficit of about $300,000. I'll go through that here in a second, but in the capital improvement fund here, we see that some pretty significant improvement at deficit of 151,000, despite all these projects, despite all these things kind of going on. So this is all come in really well, come together really good. The grants, the big $1.6 million, remember that's the spend down or the allocation and budget for the ARPA money. And usually that grants fund is at a $0 balance. This is the full amount of the ARPA allocation. So some of it, I guess. You have some more coming in and then spending it all down to a $0 balance there toward the end of 24. Will that happen? As we just talked, maybe not, but we will be asking for an appropriation of the full amount should those topics come through. And the other thing, the big one there is the debt service and construction fund. The anticipation there is that there's about $1 million left to be paid out for the community center. And that leaves 1.8 million, which that is roughly 1 to 1.5 to approaching 2 years worth of debt service for that. And that will be then switched back to a debt service fund. That's the collections for the property tax only. And that's, the city is allowed to hold up to 2 years of debt service payments before the tax rates roll down. So we're approaching that because of the good property tax valuations that are coming through, as many of us have received letters in the mail over the last couple of weeks. So with that, an update there, only that the general fund is now under by 300,000. What is that? If we go back down to our details, not much has changed as far as our revenues or our expenditures, other than this final line. And I've put in here for a transfer out for recreation. The transfer out is to reflect a couple things. One is the drive lane and the parking lots at the community center, the current new community center, and the older community center in the maintenance building. They're both of those areas I just talked about are in extreme disrepair. It was something that we had known about going into this project, something we'd known about for years. Stacy Park was alleviated during construction of that park, and it's in good shape now. And so we would kind of expect to see something like that as we open our new community center. We're trying to get the timing of it right. Again, we're at a 90-day window, and we believe we can make it happen, and without what would be a seamless opening with a new parking lot and new driveway. What does this use? It uses that accumulated fund balance that we have. This is kind of a one-off thing that we've saved for. I will say another thing, and I don't know if Paul, were you going to talk about that charter, the Winchester and Charter settlement that came?
I was not. No.
Okay, I'm sure Mr. Martin knows lots of it, but we did receive $309,000 in the last week. It's an old lawsuit between the cities and Charter Communications that they weren't paying remitting the proper utility tax, telecommunications tax. They settled, our portion was 309,000. We have it. We did receive something from the league that indicated there was going to be a challenge of some sort to the United States Supreme Court, and that we should not spend it all outright unless we expect to give it back. So if we want to take a 1-for-1, here we are. We had a one-time revenue source, and now we have a one-time out to redo our part. What could be better, right? Go ahead if you have anything to say on that.
Well, just for further edification to the extent that I can, this was a judgment that occurred several months ago. It was upheld by the Missouri court system, and Charter, true to its history of litigating this case to death, has indicated that they want to apply for certiorari to the United States Supreme Court, which, the cases that are selected by the Supreme Court for a hearing are, 1 in 100 maybe. And it's not very likely that this will get picked, but if it does, then all bets are off, and the judgment could be reversed. So that's why that $300,000 is not exactly something that we can count on unless, we can.
It's in our bank account.
Yeah, unless we want to pay it back.
Do we know typical timeframe of asking the Supreme Court, them looking at saying no, and the fact that when they say no, they can't come back?
I would think that it would be on the court's calendar for this coming year. I mean, they put in their notice a good 60 days ago, I think. So I believe that there'll be a decision within a year at the most.
Thank you. So again, other things that we have inside of here, there's no outside of permit applications, there's no redevelopment in here. I guess this comes in with the reserve policy discussion, so I'll save that for just a second here. Overall, the expenditures and the revenues have come in well. I didn't have to do a whole lot of work with the department heads in getting this kind of pared down. The bigger line here is this investment income is at 310,000 compared to 120 we think we're going to get this year on higher interest rates and kind of deploying that fund balance that we had saved up there. So that's that. Included in here is what we would see a 2% increase in the across the board, an increase of 2% on all the salary scales. at least 3 to 4% are built into each step itself. So you do the math there pretty quick, is that 5.5 to 6% increase in personnel costs are sitting in here. Generally, we'd see a 3.5 to 4% increase. So this is just bumps the scales 2%. So that's included here. The one thing we will see go through or develop more, which is unfortunate about the Parks and Rec Commission, is this Parks and Recreation revenue number and the expenditure number will come in line a little bit more. You can see this is a big drag. You know, 610,000 in revenues on $1.3 million in expenditures. So we need to get that more in tune and find out more. So that's going to be a topic. I was hoping to see it maybe at the next meeting or another meeting after the Parks and Rec Commission met. We won't get that chance. So that's something we're going to look for in the next time we talk about this. So in our capital improvement, there's some detail in here. I won't go too much inside of any of this unless anybody wants to go in any of our funds, any of our different capital items. I will go next is the summary of the cap. So if we have our capital set for 1 year, what does it look like in this 10-year span? And if people don't want to go through this, that's just fine. I'll point out one thing. We have incorporated our grants as they come in here into this capital improvement fund. But what I'll point out here is that the fund balances there start at $1 million at the audit of for FY22 and now come down. Through all this spending and all this work that we're doing, we're still solvent until the FY27 and 28. And if we look inside the detail, that's when the Dealman, like the SCP grant for the Dealman Road project south of Olive is in full swing. That's something that we can hold off fairly easily if we get through and we can. What we did on Dealman Road was we positioned one, pushed one back, accelerated one forward, kind of hit them all at once. This is good news for all the work that we're doing here. One thing that we'll see here is we talked about last time is the Missouri American Water has redone half of our roads, and then we've agreed to take that money as a buyout, and we'll do the other half ourselves. We get brand new roads for half the cost, and we get to do them under our supervision. I am going to bring up one more thing, and I'm sorry to do this. Another thing that has come up inside of the community centers, the construction side is we will need to allocate $60,000, and that's included in this 300,000 here for the relocation of the water vault that was had been preserved for years through the shutdown, decommissioning, and then raising of the Saints building. We saved the water vault, but and Missouri American had agreed that we could use it. They said we could use it. They agreed we could use it. They had some turnover there, and they have changed their mind. And now they want this water vault, which is essentially the shut off and all the valving and back thrust protection and all that stuff.
What exactly is a water vault?
It's if you think about it, in your front yard, you got a big hole and it has the water valve inside of there. It's pretty deep wherever the water valve is. And sometimes you'll see a meter in there. It's that in a commercial building, it's very big and it's several different, it'll have a fire service. It'll have the domestic water service. But it has quite a lot of throughput of water. There's lots of time you put a bend in it, you have to have a thrust protectors because as the water goes around it takes pipes. Bruce is an expert. If you wanted to talk for 10 minutes about it, I bet he can give you an earful on this water company or the vault itself.
No.
So but we have to the bottom line, we have to relocate it closer to Worcester Road. They don't want private pipes on the other side of their meter.
And this is our expense, not theirs.
It is. We did this, so the contractor's been asking about this for quite a while, and we said, just build it, just build it, just build it. We said, we're okay. Bruce's relationship with water company has paid off for us here because otherwise we would have had to shut down the whole project while this was done and delay opening. They have said on a pinky swear that as long as we pinky swore to relocate the vault ourselves, they said, go ahead and build it today and we'll do this at a later point. There are planned downtimes inside of the community center operation that this would be planned for cleaning and just kind of operational kind of retooling, if you will, inside the building. So it'd be planned for something like that. So I wanted to mention that there is another $350,000 in the ARPA allocation too for parking lots at the community center. So we're well funded for this with the 300,000. We can get the project done and we can make it look good as everyone expects it to be when it opens, and it doesn't break the bank. And that's probably the good news here. So capital summary itself. Stormwater parks still in a really development stage. We don't even see anything in capital outlay past 17. We do see some revisiting of the individual parks master plans coming in FY 24-25. Do you want to see a detail of the capital listing? We went over it last time. It's really small, it's big, lots of stuff in here. Since Parker's here, I will give some kudos to him. Captain Spencer recognized that the Department of Public Safety was giving out $20,000 grants for both EMS and the fire department. The police department also applied, and we did receive award for two $20,000 awards. One, it will help us buy the stretcher here. It's $20,000 of this right here. And then this trailer response utility vehicle, we had budgeted it last year as a grant funded only purchase. We've tried 4 times now. He's tried 4 times now with a private granting agency unsuccessfully. And so we turned it in to the Department of Public Safety. This is an ARPA allocation through the Department of Public Safety. And so this will guarantee that we can have our trail response utility vehicle at the time of our park's opening, which is it's pretty much like a gator or something that's enclosed up and can have not a stretcher itself, but like a backboard, and be able to respond to a situation on our trails that now wouldn't be accessible as readily. So now that's what we have in here, these 2 shades, the SCBA, which is the masts with tanks that go into smoky areas, due for full replacements, patrol cars, laptops in the vehicles. There's
Where's cameras? Where's cameras? When
they're
are we
sitting
looking
right
at
here, the
cameras?
license plate reader system. These are the FOC cameras right here. The police department applied for their $20,000 allocation for this. 60,000 will be a full 3-year agreement for, I believe, 6, maybe 8 cameras. Well, I can get more detail on that. So that does will fund 1/3 of that. And part of that too is these the trail patrol electronic bicycles. So those will be done with part of the $10,000 of that $20,000 allocation from Department of Public Safety. Inside of here, this is all of our road projects, and you can see this gets Bruce is going to be busy in the next 3 or 4 years. And again, we're solvent, which means it has fund balance. There's money in the bank, as we're showing today, up until we get into these big allocations of $640,000 for the phase 1 of the North Price Road. So those are things that we'd be able to adjust and identify as that time nears. Inside of that, and this is our FY 24. Here's the drive lane and the parking lot at the community center. Gets put in right here. Parks and Rec there. Just this is the replacing of the toolcat that has aged and now giving us trouble. We'll be able to keep all the accessories and attachments, and then the park improvements itself. I'm gonna go blank on what those are, so I won't pretend to know. So final thing, our reserve policy. Where does this look? We adjusted the reserve policy, if you remember, in February to only have 50% of the projected 5 years out expenditures, which we would need 5.7, we'll say $5.8 million in our fund balance, and we're sitting at 7 right now. So things that are in here are 3% increases in our sales tax. Things that are not in here is no new construction. So this assumes right now that the way the city stands today is the way if time stopped. So obviously those are not things that we're looking at. We're looking at increased utility taxes through all of these developments. We'll get to keep half of the sales taxes through anything in the TIF district. Many new businesses opening up and down Olive. So there's that's not in here. That could adjust all of this right here. As we talked, right now the community center, that recreation budget is out of whack about $600,000 to $700,000. So just do a little bit of math right there and know what that can swing on a right side up project. So outside of that, I don't have anything here. I just wanted to kind of go through. We haven't had a dedicated budget session. I've been sneaking it in through here. We won't have the book ready this year. We won't have time in the finance department to get it all done, but we will get it done within the 90-day requirement and have it submitted to the GFOA as usual. So from here, I probably won't beat up too much more on the A1 sheet. I won't beat up too much more on the capital detail unless we want to see some more. You will get a full printout of this on June 6th, which is the work session night, even if we don't want to talk about it if other things come up. But you will get that to review all those line items, just as you always do. It will include all the capital items once again with those sheets filled out. And then we're looking to be well within that reserve policy analysis. So
And then we will do the first reading of the new budget on,
June 13th,
and the second reading on the
7th. Yep.
27th, and then we're July 1st. Okay,
Be here before you know it.
okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Are there any other questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Next item is hearing citizens part 2.
Okay, and I believe there are none right now. Next item.
The next item is the city attorney's report.
Mayor, have no report, but it's my understanding that we're going to have a closed session for personnel discussions under 610-021.3, and we might as well add attorney-client communications under 610-021.1 to that request.
Okay.
And I've put the agenda out of order. Only Denise noticed.
Oh, I
keep
just
telling her
realized.
I did, but it's the way it's printed,
I
so
know.
I have to do it.
Okay.
Oh, I have minutes. We don't have to approve it. It was just the joint commission meeting. We don't have the meeting minutes from the 23rd here, so we can just
Well, there, it's
table
there,
it.
so let's do it.
Okay.
Next item, please. Oh, wait, we need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Knox,
Yes.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Waldman,
Yes,
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed.
Next item, please.
Next item is review and approval of the minutes.
Okay.
This
Very
was for the
good.
joint mission meeting.
Okay.
I think these were approved by the planning commission on Thursday.
So did we need to approve them as well?
We do. It was a joint
Okay.
meeting, so we're gonna
Yeah,
approve.
Mayor, I
those.
make a motion that we approve the minutes for the joint city council and planning and community design commission meeting from April 27th, 2023.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Call for the vote.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Knox,
Yes.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Waldman,
yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session. Oh, we already did that.
Mhm.
Okay. So,
We okay?
we'll stop recording so that we can go into closed session.
Motion. Oh,
We
go ahead.
returned from, you threw me off. We returned from closed session and no decisions or votes were taken. I would be happy to entertain a motion.
I make motion to adjourn.
Second.
Adjourned.
Third.